Hello, and welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. I'm here with my wonderful, beautiful co-host, Christy Santiago.
Where? Oh, that's
She's
me.
right there behind you.
Oh no, spooky bitch. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to LEAH. That's all I got. Welcome
That's
to
all
LEAH and
I
happy
got.
Friday. Love you guys. Ooh, we have our favorites already here. So and hi Spock, welcome. It's always a treat when you're here. And our gold standards, of course, Brantley and Smitty, and our Lord and Savior, not Joe Witness, lives in the future, but does exist.
As always. Um, I'm trying to find.
Our RB was the first one, so he's the wiener, by the way. BT dubs.
He was the winner, the wiener,
A
the
wiener. Yeah,
wiener winner.
he's a wiener.
All right.
Yes.
Let me see. I'm still looking for the link. So I'm going to jump in here, right there, over here. Criminalizing kindness.
Matt,
Here we go. Okay.
he looked up
I'm caught up.
prepared Matt and the
Oops.
sight of his rump.
Yes. Yeah. I was trying to plug in another lamp to give me a little better lighting than usual.
No, show us his rump.
I can show you my
He's like,
rump.
oh, I
I dropped
dropped this.
I don't know why I brought the soap in here, but I seem to have dropped it. But yes,
That's a
hello everyone. Mr. Shadow Kitty, we got Smitty, Logical Spock, and Vibrantly Brittany at Red Lobster
yes.
celebrating anniversary. Oh, well, congratulations. Wonderful. And we
Congrats.
got Arby, as you said. Wee. Cool. Well, let's do this. Criminalizing kindness. Yeah.
Mm,
I have two stories to share here. Um, and let's start far, far away in a land called Texas. Um,
yeah.
So, a Texas group that feeds the homeless has racked up 80 citations from city officials. And this is for feeding the hungry and the homeless
Yep.
and the hungry homeless. Have you heard about this already, Christy?
I read the article and I just could not. Uh, you
It's
know.
wild. Yeah, it's the group is Food Not Bombs. They've been around for about 30 years. And it says 4 nights a week for about 15 years. The Houston chapter of Food Not Bombs, an international charitable group, has been serving vegetarian and vegan meals to about 100 to 150 homeless residents outside the city's downtown public library. Volunteer Sheer Door told Business Insider, which is where I'm getting the story, at least this variation of it. I checked out a couple, but it wasn't until earlier this year that they started getting tickets from the city, which the group had been documenting on TikTok. And that's how I actually came across the story. I was on TikTok and I saw something about it. I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. So I checked them out. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this looks pretty legitimate and pretty awful. Really, really bad and sad. Um, but yeah, since March, they've racked up 80 citations. Um, the citations are connected to violating a local ordinance passed in 2012, which prohibits giving away food to five or more people without permission from the property owner. In this case, the library. What else would
Right.
you expect from a Texas library?
Well.
Um, Dorr told Business Insider that the court decides how much each citation is for, but they can be up to $2,000 each. She said the group hasn't paid any of the tickets yet because they plan to take each to trial.
Mm, mm, mm,
Uh,
mm.
Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner's office told Business Insider that the city is giving out tickets because serving food outside the public library, which Food Not Bombs does after library hours, is not safe for those seeking food, those who serve, uh, pedestrians, and patrons of the library facilities. It's not safe. Well, also, which I don't think is in here. Hold on, I'll read the next sentence to see if they include it. Um, Instead, the mayor wants the group to improve to move to an approved site half a mile away in a parking lot of a police precinct. And despite what the mayor wants, Food Not Bombs refuses to relocate. They say, we won't move. We've been volunteering with the group for about 12 years. So that's a given.
Mm.
So something I saw on TikTok while they were being issued a citation. One, I have to um, give credit where credit is due. The police force there, I feel like I see the same police officer in most of the videos. He usually brings a few other officers with him, but they are always kind and they just issue the citation. They're friendly with the people volunteering. So that's good, right? We don't want any unnecessary violence on either end. And I did notice though that while they were serving food, the lights around that city block were going out to make it more difficult and more dangerous for those they were serving. When they say, or the mayor says that, yeah, this isn't safe, or this isn't a safe location, or whatever uh, his response
Re
was going
yeah.
back. Those seeking food, or it's not safe for those seeking food, those who serve, pedestrians, and patrons of library facilities. Not safe. Well, turning off the lights doesn't make it more safe. It probably makes it less safe. Um, they're just out here
For
serving people who are hungry, and they're just getting citation after citation. It was over 80, and I think they got their day in court. And it was this month, finally, after getting citations since March. I saw a story that was posted in August, and they already had 40 by then. So it took them, what, 3, 4 months to get 40 citations, and then another like 4 months to get another 40 citations. Every time they hit person number 6, like they were even making like light of it on TikTok, like, oh, well, we've served 6 people food, ready for my citation. And the officers would like serve it up. Um, so I really hope that because I couldn't find where this went, like how this has gone. I haven't seen any prognosis, conclusion. So hopefully I can give you a an update sometime soon.
there
Unless you
is a change.org, which has a petition that you can sign asking the city of Orlando to stop arresting people or calling them food terrorists. It's so crazy. Or an end to the arrests. You'd like to get involved or support Food Not Bombs, there is a list that will tell you of which chapter is near you.
Mhm.
If not, you can start a group. Menu at foodnotbombs.net. And I mean, it's just insane. There's these arrests, like you said, have received international press coverage, and solidarity rallies have been staged at local universities as far away as Michigan. On June 20th, 2023, hacktivist group Anonymous shut down the Orlando Chamber of Commerce website and posted a boycott Orlando message on the site of Universal Orlando Resorts. Now, local officials from across the state are watching the standoff between Food Not Bombs and the city closely as they consider imposing similar permit regulations of their own in their own communities. This is not the first time a Food Not Bombs chapter has been targeted by local government officials. Last year, officials in Middletown, Connecticut also tried to shut down a chapter of the group for lacking a license. The dispute ended after Attorney General, now U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal, changed the state's law to accommodate food sharing. In February 2023, Fort Lauderdale police twice raided a home shared by a local Food Not Bombs activist, their home. The organization was founded by 8 anti-nuclear activists 30 years ago, as Jennifer O'Mahony explained in this space last September. That would be the September 2022 that this was explained, and now has over 1,000 chapters across the United States. Members collect surplus food from bakeries, restaurants, and grocery stores on their own time. Prepare vegan meals for those who are vegan, keeping regular hours in the same location so that community members in need know when and where to find them and get food. Sometimes it's the only food they've had that day. Although local chapters vary in organization and orientation, all are bound by a shared commitment to nonviolent social change. When a human is hungry, they need food. They don't need to wait till someone applies for a permit. They need food. That's how that works. Their commitment to nonviolent social change, economic equality, and the idea that access to food is an inalienable right. You can sign, I told you, the Food Not Bombs online petition. And they're asking, it's at change. It's only one capital, and that's the C, change.org. And we'll go to menu at is the sign at. Food Not Bombs, all one word, foodnotbombs.net. They also take donations at 50 cents. They'll take 25, they'll take 12 cents. They'll take anything because everything accumulates to feed people. I think Food Not Bombs is a brilliant organization of people who actually make a difference on the ground where they live. That's the stuff we actually have passion for. So, and they're called food terrorists, you guys. Terrorists, because they're hungry. Yeah. It's dangerous. You can't do it. So we'll turn all the lights off so it's more dangerous. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you're dangerous? Hold my beer.
War against the homeless. I do want to share a little thing I found on Google from givingcompass.org. I did see that Joanna Presco reports that the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals officially ruled that feeding the homeless is a protected right in America. The decision was made during a dispute between the organization Food Not Bombs and the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which I've been to, for requiring a permit to share food in public parks, which is probably what Christy was referencing, was that instance. Also, shoot, something else he said. The petition. Last I saw, and I don't know if it's over. I don't know if the petition is over. But I did see that there were like 24,000 signatures on it. So that's awesome. But you can still add your name. So, or if you still can.
Stream is over, and before this weekend's over, if I can find any kind of updates, I also cannot. That doesn't mean that there aren't, If I can, we'll go underneath in the comments and it will be one of the first things. Yeah. So actually any of our streams, any of our videos that we've done, if I find information that I needed to link or updated information, I go to that particular live show that we did and I put it right in the comments. So
dig it. See, this is why Christy's awesome. Okay, are we ready for part 2 of this topic?
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm going with this one?
Well, number 2 is stinkier than going number 1, so it's probably going to be stinky.
Well, that's some crap.
It's better than If it's just one person or one cat, more is better. Don't you?
All right, so this next story fit really close to home. Because Ohio pastor charged for sheltering homeless people in church in freezing weather. Did you hear about this
Okay,
one?
yes, but I don't have. I'm excited to hear more information. I was just appalled.
Yeah. Did you see Kyle's coverage?
That's where I heard it, and
Okay.
so
I went to the
it's
same
okay
site that he got it.
die. It's okay to let
Huh?
them die.
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
legal to let them die.
yeah, absolutely. So, okay. Outrage spread on Friday after the story about a pastor in Ohio who was arrested and charged for opening his church to homeless people when extreme cold weather struck his town gained national attention. All right. This is from truthout.org, and I can attest how cold it was. It was about 0 degrees that weekend up here, and that town is 35 minutes from me.
Wow.
So when Kyle said Dad's place, I'm like, I know of one, and then he said Bryan, Ohio, as I thought, I'm like, fuck,
Wow.
damn. That is so close to home that I literally lived next door to the homeless shelter that they're talking about. I know where this place is. It was my neighbor, Dad's place, and the homeless shelter. Um, just actually, if I remember right, let me think before I speak. I can't remember if we started the show back when I lived next door to the shelter or not. But I know that when we had that stream, that first stream that you and I had, and it was your birthday, and we even had
Mhm.
Kyle on
Yeah.
way back in the day, that was there. That was
Oh
right
wow.
next door to this place. Walk
Wow.
outside, that's the next window. Um, so yeah, so all that said, I didn't want to dox myself, but at the same time, I did want to say I am gonna go and follow up. I'm gonna call, and if I can, I'm gonna go sit down with the person because they're close enough for me to just go check out and talk to.
Mm.
So Chris Avell, I do not know him, the pastor of an evangelical church called Dad's Place in Bryan, Ohio, pleaded not guilty last Thursday to charges that he broke 18 restrictions in zoning code when he gave shelter to people who might otherwise have frozen to death. Um,
Mm.
and it also says that he had issues last winter when he invited unhoused people to stay in his church to avoid the cold and snow. In November, officials told him Dad's Place could no longer house the homeless because it lacks bedrooms. The building is zoned as a central business, and Ohio law prohibits residential use, including sleeping, eating, and eating in first floor buildings within business districts. Um, According to James Causey, a columnist with the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, Avell ignored the commission's orders and again opened Dad's Place to the homeless earlier this winter until police arrived at the church during a New Year's Eve service and issued the violations, which is pretty wild. I'll get the attention of everyone. Um, Avell said that many of these people have been rejected by their families and cast aside by their communities, like his community. So if the church isn't willing to lay down its life for them, then who will? This is what we're called to do. And as a group of baby eating atheists, kudos to this guy, right? Literally doing God's work, doing the acts of Jesus, the good one, the one, not the one in Revelation. This is fantastic. This is really good work. This is the kind of thing that I want churches to do. I thought about this a bit. I mean, it is absolutely disgusting that this is happening. Right? They're coming down on someone trying to house homeless people. The they is the, I guess, the Bryan Police Department in the city of Bryan. Um, I talked to a few people about this, and I can understand that, like, if there's like some code violations, I can understand that. If you want to house homeless people and you want to do it often, you should probably get some amenities to better do that and potentially bring it up to code. But I know that lawfare is an issue here, where we've seen and we've noted, I think, on this show, that abortion clinics um, have to go through the same kind of citations and violations and zoning codes. And as soon as you alter your building and you pay um, for the amenities that you need, a lot of times they'll just change the code again to fuck with you if they're really targeting you. So that's not really a great way. I kind of want to say it's better to just fight it and then um, try to get around whatever codes that they have and just change things. But something that I've said multiple times is that I think that churches should be taxed. Like it shouldn't be they shouldn't be tax exempt. And if they want to be tax exempt, then they should probably use their big old beautiful building for maybe housing the homeless or something useful on all those days of the week, all those like 5 days a week at least. Like that they're not fucking
At,
doing anything.
at least all the days that end with Y.
Yeah. Yeah. Um like how like I've said that. I've had that opinion for a while, and now that I see a church doing that and they're being prosecuted for it, um persecuted for it. My bad.
Yeah.
I see that's pretty shitty, and I want to be consistent. So I want to point that out as that's absolutely shitty. And I want to one reach out to them, get their side of the story, see how often that they help homeless people, and it's maybe see if there's a way that I can help. We can help. So
Right.
I
I
am
do.
looking forward to giving you an update.
There are some amazing points and a couple questions. Smitty talking about the part one of the story. I didn't agree with Kyle's framing. Oh, maybe it is this one. Sorry. That it's Christian. Oh, hold on. I'm getting too old. I need my eyeballs. Stupid. All right. I didn't agree with Kyle's framing that it's Christian persecution. He said they were being persecuted for doing what Jesus said. The reality is any secular organization doing the same would have also been shut down. And he does have a point about that. That's keeping the Smitty logic across the board. And then I just have to add Brantley Wantley doodle all the day. Nobody understands but me. It's fine. And then Titan for once. So for once, Christians actually acting the way that they're supposed to when they arrest them. Aren't churches supposed to be sanctuaries? Titan Uranus. It says aren't churches sanctuaries under common law anyway? In some areas, in some states, not at all. But that's a good point. It would be interesting to find out if it is in that area. Smitty, I can't read that. It seems most NIMBYs not in my backyard, NIMBY, don't like homeless being out on the street. They're intense and shit. Seems like you'd be stoked that they're safely in a church. And then Titan, I would still think believing in God was sort of silly, but if this is what they did, why would I even be an activist? You know, if that's what they were doing, if they were putting their mouth where their scripture is. And then also amenities, question mark, Titan asks. There a toilet? Was it for a night? Like you don't need much more than that to not die on the street because the storms that just happened last week up north, over 80 people died. And that's just what we know of, you know, um and then Smitty. They do the same thing with abortion clinic regulations. They'll wait till it's built, then change the door size, the hallway size, etc.
Yeah.
Change these regulations by an inch so that it has to be rebuilt. And Brantley says, "Good night, honey. Happy anniversary. Congratulations. Give her a smooch." And
Good
then
night.
I think that about covered it. Great points, guys. Good questions. Yeah, it's an infuriating story. You know, doing the right thing for no reason but it's the right thing to do is so humanist, and that it's being persecuted, that that mega churches can have pastors that tell their congregation, "I need to have my own private plane," is perfectly accepted. But churches saying these people out on the street will die tonight if I don't do what their belief system, what their religion tells them. We're talking about a pastor of it. This is, if he doesn't walk the walk, who's going to want to listen to him? And we don't have to be religious to understand that it's the right thing to do, whether you use Magic Sky Daddy for doing the right thing, or because it's the right thing, or because you believe it and it aligns with your. I don't care. I don't care. These people definitely would have died, and the right thing to do, whether they become members of your church, whether they share your religion, doesn't matter. They just need to be sheltered so they don't die. It is that simple. And to arrest people, there is one word for arresting people for that, and it's called fascist as fuck. That's one word, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. You can type that with no spaces.
Yes.
And Smitty also said, "You're only allowed to help the rich."
Yeah. So
all
true.
right. So that's great.
Fantastic.
All right. Let's move on. Next. Hopefully I have an update for that one soon.
Hopefully.
I'm gonna wait to see what the next one is. I actually don't remember. I'm assuming he's gonna take it straight to Israel, Gaza, but
yeah,
probably so.
No, Smitty, it just keeps going out because I'm lame. It is definitely moved to Gaza. How many of you did I share that comedian, the Irish comedian, walking around asking everyone, "Do you condemn Hamas?" It's so funny. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yes. If not, let me know and I'll share it with you. He just won all these awards. He's a brilliant comedian and a good human, then it's a good combination. Funny is the best anyway, but being a good human, pretty much the best as well. So
cherry on
together,
top of the best.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Are we ready?
To rumble.
Okay. So today, I think it looks like today's date, the 26th. First thing here. Israel must comply with the key ICJ ruling ordering it to do all in its power to prevent genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. Yeah, the International Court of Justice has said, yeah, it looks pretty plausible that there's genocide going on there.
Nearly unanimous.
Nearly. It was what, 52?
But one on most of them. On two of them, there were two that vote, against the 15. So it was 16-1 and 2-15, or 15-2 for the rest of them. And
What?
Yeah, they came back fast. Knowing that they came back fast gave me a feeling, like a positive feeling. Although, you never know. I was very worried. But
yeah.
Actually, there are Twitter of Israeli leaders, elected leaders, and other who have literally said that nothing, nothing happened. Like, we pretty much won. How Trump comes out of a court case that he just lost and is like, I won. And the what is he? The military for Gavir tweeted Gaja. Oh no, The Hague Schmeg.
Mm.
What are you, like, 14-year-old boy? Like, put your gun away from you. Don't.
Um,
Mm.
so let me go ahead and read out some of this real quick. I'm getting this from amnesty.org. So, um, today's decision by the International Court of Justice to order provisional measures in response to South Africa's genocide case against Israel is an important step that could help protect Palestinian people in the occupied Gaza Strip from further suffering and irreparable harm, said Amnesty International today. The ruling issued by the ICJ ordered 6 provisional measures, including for Israel to refrain from acts under the Genocide Convention. Why do you have to say it? Like, why do you have to say it? That's a problem. Prevent and punish the direct and public incitement to genocide, of which there is much of between Israel's media and TikToks that their citizens are posting, and also their Israeli Defense Force. Let me continue. Sorry, I had to stop mid-sentence to this caveat that. And take immediate and effective measures to ensure the provision of humanitarian assistance to civilians in Gaza. Remember, 70% of all aid sent to Gaza is stopped by the IDF, which is cruel and unusual. You know what? No, it's cruel, but not unusual for the IDF. They're a terrorist organization who does this on the regular. Crucially, the court also ordered Israel to preserve evidence of genocide and submit a report to the court within 1 month of all measures taken in line with its order, which is pretty great. Now, from what I've heard, they've pretty much just just pointed a lot of good stuff out and said, like, you guys got to stop it, but they didn't call for a ceasefire. And again, from what I got from Kyle, is like maybe they didn't do that because they don't have any mechanism to enforce it, which is fair, because then they might just, they as in Israel may just ignore it completely, right?
However,
we want to ask a question. Yeah.
What they did state, though, is legally binding. They might not have an enforcement, arm or wing or infrastructure. However, it is legally binding. And so by them stating that you cannot do anything else that could lead to a genocide, and anything that might be considered genocide, you have to stop. That, I mean, you can't let the aid in while you're indiscriminately bombing. So, I mean, they didn't call for a ceasefire because they kind of can't. They could have said, we demand it, but the whole world's saying we demand it. They don't care. They said the Hague Schmeg. They don't care. Netanyahu came out when this first happened and said, it doesn't matter what they say, we're going to do what we need to do. So I think they're playing it very careful. It did, by the outcome today, it has to now be investigated. It has to now go to court. Israel is going to court because they are charged with genocide, or they are charged with potential genocide. You have to say that legally, not, they haven't been, They haven't said they've committed genocide yet. They're saying we have to now investigate properly, legally, and there is enough evidence. There is enough verbal evidence. There is enough video evidence. The IDF literally is streaming their war crimes every single day. And so because of that, they need to see nothing else to say, yes, there is a massive potential for, over 30,000 human beings have been slaughtered in a matter of 3 months. That's just every day I'm like, is this real? Is this life? And I love that. I don't love, that's the wrong word. I appreciate that it doesn't matter what happened. Like Israel's entire, while they were pleading their case was October 7th, October 7th, October 7th. And The Hague did say it was atrocious. These are, they committed war crimes. They kidnapped civilians. These are war crimes. They are not being brought to the ICJ. This is not a case for them. If you would like to, then present a case and we'll go out. Like, that's how this works. And it doesn't matter how, what, where, why happened that made you so angry that you wanted to annihilate an entire population. It doesn't matter, because if someone in a group of people does something bad, you don't kill the whole group of people. That's not how that works. And let's just say that 50%, which is absurd, of Gaza are all a part of this, in their head, these, bad guys. It still is not legally a thing. It's not legal to then go in and punish everyone. So every time they use the argument, but Hamas, that just got thrown out, and it can't be an argument, because that's not here nor there. And I have gotten to with some friends, but they use human shields, but okay, well, let's say the Empire State Building, your family is visiting New York and they're doing the tourist thing, and bad guys come in and they take your mom and your sister and your daughter who's visiting your mom, she's with her grandma. They take them hostage because now cops show up and they can't get away. Our military isn't going to go bomb the entire the Empire State Building or any building, any museum, any bank, it's just not going to happen. Why? That is atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing all day, every day, because there may or may not be. And we know that's not true. There's a video that came out last week of a group of women and children walking out with a white flag because they just wanted to get past where these tanks and guns were. And they're going slow, and then they sniper a woman whose then toddler has to leave his mom on the ground and run towards a group. You guys know any toddlers that will leave their mom on the ground? Like, he had to be so scared. And that's just a story which is documented with evidence at The Hague. And so, yes, I'm sorry, Mark, I kept going. You in the back?
Oh yeah, me. Hi. I just wanted to say my favorite phrase of counterterrorism is still terrorism. And that's really all the defense that the IDF, the Israeli government, has, is this is counterterrorism. They don't say it like that, but that is the argument. And but what about them? It's the what about them fallacy. Forget what that one would be called at the moment. But it does not compute. It and again, like, I have to keep saying it. When a terrorist organization kills what? A little over 1,000 people with a 45% civilian death rate. That's terrorism. And
Yes.
it's an attack. It's terrible. It's condemnable. All of that. But you can't kill 45% 1,200. We'll just like round that up to like we'll say 700 people. Okay, when you kill 700 people that are innocent civilians, and then you return that with 30,000 people, I don't need to say more. Like, who's the bigger terrorist? You've proven yourself. We get it. But now you gotta go to court about it. And I'm glad it's now. I'm glad they didn't put this off any further. Let me quickly say this is from January 19th. So this is the Euro Med Monitor. I got the graphic here. So we have 32,246 people killed. That's 12,660 children. And again, this was 1 week ago. Women, that's 6,860, and just civilians, 29,720 civilians out of 32,246. Injured is 62,000. Journalist kills is 115. Partially destroyed home is 190,250. Completely destroyed homes, 72,440. Displaced peoples is 1,955,000, almost 2 million. And remember, there's only 2.3 million people in Gaza. Destroyed press headquarters or damaged, 169. Damaged schools, 326. Destroyed industrial facilities, so civilian infrastructure, 1,690. Damaged mosques, 247. Damaged churches, 3. So that's 250 mosques and churches. Healthcare professionals, just the professionals themselves, 657. We'll be getting to 700 soon, I'm sure. That's 301 killed, 356 injured. So that's the combined number there. Health care facilities, 208, and that's 24 hospitals, 62 clinics, and 127 ambulances. Remember, Israel has some of the best targeting in the world. So these are targeted strikes. Remember, because they claim they are not indiscriminately bombing, and they are proving it. Heritage sites, 199.
And hold on. An example for what Mac just said, they went into Lebanon and they did a targeted strike, which didn't take down the whole building, which did take out the floor, part of the floor that this particular terrorist, that's what they're calling it. That's not my word. They
Hamas supporter, probably.
Yeah, they were able to take out this, a leader, one of the leadership of Hamas by a targeted strike, which means that, I mean, not that we don't know or don't have a plethora of evidence to also, prove this point, but they just did it. They didn't use a 2000 dumb bomb. They used a targeted strike to take out a targeted individual in a building without leveling it, without killing everyone in the building, without bringing the whole thing down. But, they could just send special forces in to stop the terrorists, Mitty had said. You're right. They could. And that's why wars took a long time with, not that we haven't committed war crimes, but for the most part, the policy coming down, is we can't just level everything. We'll lose hearts and minds. So we have to go in and get the bad guys and help with humanitarian aid with the good with the people to win hearts and minds. Now that hasn't always worked. That hasn't always happened, but and my reply to Smitty was, I agree, but that wouldn't ethnically cleanse the Palestinian population of Gaza. And now I'm not saying every single person in Israel wants that particular thing to happen. However, the leadership does. And many in the military are actually going to borders this week and stopping humanitarian aid altogether, stating unless Gaza gives up the hostages, the people who have nothing to do with this, they're not getting anything. They're just proving the Hague's point every single day.
Yeah.
Smitty said Israel isn't dropping dumb blondes. And you are right, Smitty. Gold stuff. That would be so much more fun.
That would be so much better. I mean, depending on how far they're dropping them from. Let's slow our roll. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
Mainly dropping dumb blondes.
Yeah.
I do it. Let's see what happens.
So I'll finish the graphic real quick. I was saying 199 heritage sites. Civil defense workers is 167. That's injured and killed. That's 41 killed and 127 injured. Detainees forcibly disappeared, which I don't think we had this last line of this whole thing, but detainees forcibly disappeared is 2,350. Again, I think that whole bottom part wasn't always included. Excuse me. This alone, this is graphic. If it's accurate to literally 25% accurate. These are war crimes that are indisputable. The home is partially destroyed. You cut that into a quarter. That's still almost 50,000. And the completely destroyed ones are still close to 15 to 20,000. It's obviously horrendous. We all know that already. But I feel like I'm not doing my due diligence if I don't add the numbers to our reporting.
Euromed is what you go with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Because they also add all of the people and children and elderly and wives and mothers and that are the rubble for long enough that there's no fucking way that they're alive. To not add them is absurd. These are human beings.
Mm-hmm. Let me add to the Amnesty International at the bottom of the story. It says more than 26,000 Palestinians, mostly civilians, have been killed in Israel's unrelenting bombardment of Gaza, with some 10,000 believed to be still missing under the rubble. At least 1.8 million Palestinians have been internally displaced and are deprived of access to adequate food, water, shelter, sanitation, and medical assistance. I mean, I'm sure most of you guys know enough details, but the thing I wanted to read was 26,000 Palestinians, mostly civilians, have been killed. More than 26,000, with some 10,000 believed to still be missing under the rubble. They're being conservative with their numbers here, but even if you add on that extra 10,000, that's 36,000 people believed to be dead or dying, stuck under the rubble still, buried alive and dead. Compared to the Euromed monitors, 32,000. And again, this was 1 week ago. It's disheartening. I check this out almost every day. And I was really happy to see that the international courts are taking this up. It's important. And I hope maybe you guys can leave down in the comments if you have had any conversations in the last couple of weeks since we've talked about it here with you guys, with family members, friends. Remember, the only thing we can do is make noise about it, talk, spread information, because aid has not been getting through. And honestly, I really doubt that's going to change. Like, I don't know how they're going to get it. I cannot imagine a world where I check this out tomorrow and I hear a story of breaking. The IDF is now letting in 100% of humanitarian aid. I have no faith that they're going to comply with this. And I don't know what to do about it, but at least we have some semblance of responsibility being held.
Well, it was leaked. I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but I read the article and it's leaked that, as I put it in the chat, Israeli officials in private and wanting to remain anonymous when talking to journalists of other countries in the Western world, that of course they use the Hamas ran government's numbers. There's no way, they even say there's no way for us to know. We've used them for they said 14 plus years. Every time they mow the lawn, these are the numbers that they use. And then when it's all said and done, the Euromed, UN, they're all within a percentage, and Hamas is always right there or even a little under. Like, it's so ridiculous to say I don't trust them because it's a Hamas. You do understand that Hamas isn't like elected government. They stopped having elections a long time ago. But they are the government in God. Well, that means that the police, everyone. Yes, Matt.
I just need to get. They stopped having those like democratic elections. I mean, they kind of had one, kind of like what our country's heading towards right now. But sorry, had to caveat.
I do have to add, I got into it's like talking to a brick wall sometimes. It's, read more than just things that you agree with, or things that, if things make you uncomfortable, write down the claims in it and then try to debunk them. That's all. And then make sure you're consuming things from people that you don't necessarily agree with, not all day, every day, but here's the story. These are people I love. I trust them. Let's see what they're saying about it. That's important. But by this person, and I won't blow them up, put them on blast on here, but he's been in the chat. He's probably listening right now. He told you and I that we should just change our name of LEAH to US/Israel, the true evils of the world and the causes of all world's problems. That should be our new name. Like, I will never delete that, because every time I read it, I about piss myself laughing, because that is the same kind of argument. Like, we can't be evolved because we can't come from monkeys. They're still monkeys. Like, I just can't with it.
Wait, well, hey, can you repeat that new name for us?
Yes. LEAH, no longer apparently, to US/Israel, the true evils of the world and the causes of all the world's problems. I'm sorry, but if there is one superpower that can veto the world's decisions, that's a problem. Now, I'm not saying I would want Saudi Arabia to have that power. I would rather have the US have that power. I'm sure the world would rather have the US have that power than someone like Saudi or Iran, or any of these authoritarian dictators, theocracies. But that's how I feel about dictatorships, authoritarian theocracies, and ethnostates. So it's not going to change if it's Israel. Like, that is not okay. If I came to the show and said, I've seen the light, America should be for Christians only. This is something I believe in now, and that's it. Like, first of all, you no. And okay, I do understand, that's the argument, that I don't understand the context, and that they'll always be our ally, will always be their ally. That has nothing to do with what's happening. Us being their ally has nothing to do with the genocide. Yes, obviously,
Yeah, well,
Britain, and we're part of Britain, helped create this thing. So we're not going to say we did wrong. That's not how it works. And in the 50s and the 60s, Israel was heading a certain way. They had a lot of communities. They had a lot of, they have healthcare for all, abortion on demand, education for all. They have all these programs that if you want to spend your life learning the Talmud, all these, the whole, and like dive into being Jewish in the text, whether it's the mysticism from 2,000, 3,000 years ago, or the beginnings, or all of it. They spend their life. They have programs that make sure you can do that. You don't have to work. We'll make sure. You're not going to live a life of luxury, but those programs are not. That's not a part of anything we have here. And if we didn't give all of these weapons or all of this money that taxpayers pay for, we could probably have health care for all, education for all. I'm not saying that I don't like Israelis. So like when, I'm trying to talk to this particular person,
me?
it's black and white. It's black or white. He said, so I guess what was the other one that I think you'll probably crack up at really big. Oh, oh, because he had said, wait, he started the conversation. When did we bomb? Blah blah blah. So I said we named 3 countries that we did. Right, because the terrorists in that region care about their own people, stuff that he'll say. Or instead of the merit, when did we bomb them? These are the country bombed. These are the dates. Here's some information. Well, right, because we were taking out terrorists. I don't care. It is illegal to bomb a sovereign country. What if we had terrorists here and other countries said, we don't like those groups, we think they're terrorists, we're going to bomb them? It's not okay. We have laws, international laws, and our own constitution. We can't do that. I didn't get into all of that with him because obviously I shouldn't have to say that. But
no, look here. To that I say, if you don't want it to be illegal, make it legal. Have a declaration of war. Then it's not illegal. Then you can bomb the shit out of them. You still can't kill civilians.
right.
That's still illegal. But if you want to bomb a foreign country, do it legally. We have channels for that.
His actual response, well, that's the response to the bombing. When I said, here's the countries, and yes, we just did that. Well, that's the response of these US, UK airstrikes. And you already know who supports the Houthis. What? Okay, non-sec, Gish Gallop, I can name so many right now. Just keep going. I took this conversation as let me refresh my logical fallacies real quick. And then and then it's just they don't care about their own people. And I said, so because they don't care about their own people, we should be worse, or it's okay that we bomb them because they don't care about them. And then it's just, now you're saying our military is just a rogue organization, which I've never said. It's so hard to argue, or to have a adult conversation, even debate, if you will, with someone like that. And then to his own self, he replied, Jesus, in all capitals. And I'm just like, and then he just kept, this is all him. Then he just kept going, South Africa can't even take care of their own. And meanwhile, gave a welcome to Sudan's own genocider. Ooh, the irony. I'm like, okay, what does any of that have to do with, he doesn't, people don't like when they say something and you say, well, here's this, and here's the receipts. And they're like, okay, but what about this? And I feel like so much of our country is like that. So much of the world is
Yeah.
like that. Instead of, hold on, you have a point. Let me go educate myself on this. That you make a good point. I still feel this way, but now I've added this to it. So I've had a richer, no, that doesn't ever happen.
It's just like when you have to change like the buildings to be up to code, and then they change the inches for the doorway again. Like, oh
This,
yeah, you're right. I could do this. Oh, you didn't
yeah,
actually, did you? You didn't. You just wanted to. Okay. Nope. I see what's
I,
going on. You're trying to bankrupt me. Here.
no, that's exactly.
Yeah.
I do have to ask. Um,
Yeah.
I had said a couple of things, and then of course he didn't like it. So, you still fuck with shoe on head. That has nothing to do with anything. And then so like I was pretty much, done with that. I did say a few more things because I thought I just care about this person. It breaks my heart that someone I care about and have amazing conversations with, that they could just be so cold. So days later, talk about, the election coming up and Biden and, genocide Joe and all these things. And I
Mhm.
said, I don't know. He's lost the, Arab population and the Muslim population, which they are not the same. They do cross over, but do not say they are the same. However, not only that,
Christy, that's the
black,
stupidest thing. Not all whites are Christian. You
well,
know,
yeah, I
all
know
whites.
it's black and white with some of these people. So anyway, I said, and the black vote and a lot of the Spanish vote, especially here in Florida, they're going more conservative. And then I said, he's going to be left with the legacy of being known in history books as Genocide Joe.
I sure
And
hope
it
so.
broke. I literally had tears in my eyes and needed a hug from my wife when his reply was, "Why? Because of the Gaza thing?" I did, what? And then, maybe some people they don't listen to news and they don't challenge themselves on their beliefs. They're limited and they have a life. They don't stay updated. And I get that. However, even if you are not informed, 20,000, 10,000, let's just say it was still 5,000 people that they had killed. That's not acceptable. That's called collective punishment. And yeah, the Gaza thing is not acceptable. To sidestep our Congress to send them the weapons that our government is saying, we're telling them not to do that, but they sidestep and give them to them. I just, and it's just, yeah. And it is big. I can't go to sleep at night without the last thing on my mind thinking, I don't pray. I don't have that anymore. I can't, there's none of that. So I'm just thinking, my heart's with you. I get to sleep in this bed and I don't feel guilty for it because I don't let myself. That's not fair and it's not healthy. But it would be real easy to feel guilty for sleeping in a safe bed in a country that's funding their genocide. It's just insane.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's
mm.
it's
And what
depressing.
is wrong? It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that these people just aren't seen. They're not viewed as the same as. Listen to. Oh, I wanted to tell you. Remember when Russia had invaded Ukraine, and I had brought it up on one of our streams that the Ukrainians were building Molotov cocktails. The old ladies in high-rise, apartment buildings and elderly homes were without heat because it's winter, but they're spending their time ripping rags, pouring things, making Molotov because they're gonna do something because this, invaded them and they have to fight back. And the whole world was like, look at them. We have solidarity. You fight back. That's so amazing. They fight back and they're terrorists. Think about that.
Yeah,
Think about it.
yeah,
I'm anti-violence. So, however, international law states that an occupied people have the right to fight back against that oppression and occupy any
yeah.
means necessary besides war crimes.
Right. And when there's an occupying force, so this is my interpretation of that. All right. So that's what this is when the IDF comes into your territory, they're the oppressor, right? They are oppressing, meaning you can throw rocks or more to fight back against your oppressor. Like that's what that international law would say. Also, if you're in the West Bank and you have people moving onto your land, therefore oppressing you, that would also give cause to fight back if you're just an Israeli settler. And they don't always do that, but they push and they push. And Israel controls the narrative. So the Israelis aren't terrorists. Not how it ought to be. That's how it is.
My
All right.
drink was, now it's thick.
Nice. This is my drink, everyone. Got some honey wine.
It's called a drink. Okay?
My drink.
A drink.
We have one more topic. All right. Hello, Maya. Welcome.
It's Queen Maya to you. Thank you very much. Or Miss Atkinson, if you're nasty.
Frustrated.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Frustrated.
Frustrated.
What?
Yeah.
Yes. It's weird that I've never seen frustrated not be blue in any chat ever. This might be the now you stand out. You stand out here.
Yeah, look, you're special. You're so special here that you're not a moderator.
Full Florida Panhandle. Smitty knows. This is my drink and it was broken. Now it's fixed.
Yeah. All right. Miss Christy, what do we have next? This is yours, isn't it?
Okay.
No, that's it.
Beep, beep, beep. Yeah, that's all, folks.
Beep, beep, beep.
Yes.
Texas.
Yeah, let's
What?
see if there are any questions I can ask them or add them. And I want to add a video when we're done to the comments if anyone's interested. It will go through the ICJ, what happened today, but instead of listening to the court, which I did, I read the transcript too. Instead of that, it is here are the things that Israel has to do. This is, binding by law, and these are the consequences that could happen internationally, sanctions and whatnot. Many countries aren't going to want to be associated with someone who's being investigated. And when they're not doing these legally binding things, then these sanctions and other things happen. They'll become a pariah. Well, if you're interested, you can come back to this video after we're done. And it's the first part of the video. Even when the particular guy is done, you don't have to listen to the rest. If you're just interested in what those things are, you didn't have time today, and the legally binding things, itemize it's mwah. I will put that in here. It is so important. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And I do have to say, I'm fucking sick and nauseous all day long at the videos and the war crimes that are coming out all day, every day. However, I do have to, there's no silver lining in this type of slaughter. I do have to, and as a history obsessed person, I do think and I do hope and I do believe that this genocide, I don't know, their words have definitions,
slaughter, genocide.
Because of these actions, I think it's changed the tide. There are so many people that said, they were occupied 75 years. What? And they go and look and they read that never happened before, because why? Israel has nothing to do with me. But when your taxes are going towards things you cannot, benefit from, like universal health care, like your daughter needing abortion care and can't get it in your state, that's not a problem there. And education for all, you want to be a doctor, you want to be, it's those benefits could be, I don't think many people even understood or cared, because it had nothing to do with their daily life. but they're seeing their children, their friends post things. They're seeing all of these mass protests and then saying, wait, my tax monies go to what? The longest wait, what? In apartheid, there are two different roads for these people, different license plates, different ID. What? That is waking up populations everywhere. And I think this generation's, whether it's our generation all the way down to, the kids who are in high school right now, it is this group of generations version of Vietnam. They're seeing this is bullshit. War is a racket, and the powerful write the textbooks, and that's not going to work anymore. Everyone has one of these, or has a friend, or has a computer. Everyone. And this is the very first, ethnic cleansing that's literally being live streamed on both sides. I heard recently calling them the ODF, the occupying is wait, yeah, IOF, that's the Israeli occupying force. I like that. That they're live streaming their own war crimes every single day. I have visited it. I took it off my phone and I won't go back. However, if anyone is morbid like me and needed to see it for themselves, 72 Virgins Uncensored is the Telegram channel of the IDF, where I won't even talk about it. I will never be able to unsee the things I saw. And yeah, they're creating binders full of atrocious behavior and war crimes for this tribunal. And whether it is months or years, which I believe it'll be at least a year or two or more before we have the court case at the International Criminal Court. However, I watched the entire the Serb that just got, not too long ago for genocide. During World War II, the Serbs were genocided by the Nazis. And they were traumatized. That's what happens. Violence begets violence, begets violence, begets violence. It doesn't stop unless we fucking stop the violence. And because they were so traumatized and so they were fucking genocided. Of course, they lost the things they saw and went through are horrendous. No one talks about them. It's the Jews and the gypsies and the gays and the trans and the disabled. Those are always mentioned, but no one really talks about the Serbs being genocided during World War II. And now the Serbs in the 90s genocided the Muslim population in their area. And watching that court, watching those tribunals is like a 3-hour documentary on it. Anyone's interested, hit me up. It's beautiful. You can probably find it. Yes, it's amazing. I'm a nerd, but it really was riveting. I couldn't stop watching it. I needed to know who, what, where, why. You'll see so many things that are atrocities, walking the guys out in their underwear. There is a part in the video of the Serbian, this was camcorder in the 90s. It wasn't everyone had a phone. And all the women they put on buses, all the children they put on buses, and the men and teenage boys they kept there. Well, a lot of the teenage boys went and hid in the woods because their adult family members, whether dad or uncles, or told them, you go fucking hide. I don't think we're gonna make it. And the guy who was charged with genocide of this population, the Serb, he's in this video and he tells one of the dads, no one's gonna get hurt. Hey, tell your son, come on over here. Everybody come over here. It's all gonna be fine. And he was nice to them and talked to them. And so the dad stood up and called them. And as the son came, I can't unsee that. And this is what they're going through in Gaza. Someone has to be held accountable. And people like us who have nothing to do with Gaza or Israel but have everything to do with being a human, know that we wouldn't want that done to ourselves or our loved ones, which means it can't be done to anyone or their loved ones. It's that simple. Never again means never fucking again for everyone. And if you learn, there is also, it's called Crime and Ornament. We'll also link that underneath this video in the comments. Crime and Ornament is a channel. She's brilliant. She's a Jew. She's an activist, and she deals with art created through trauma and so much more. I mean, she's just amazing. And she talks about, you know, violence begetting violence begetting violence. And it's just, we've seen it. There's so much documented human history that we've seen atrocities happen to a population. That population, whether a decade or 3 later, does those same things. And if we don't stop the violence and make sure that never again means never again, we can't watch Rwanda or the Serbian or any others of these genocides wait until we say we think they're happening. There's 30,000 gone, and then start doing something, and then we can't do anything till it's over. What the fuck is the point of having international law if we cannot stop a genocide? So I think the whole world needs to just, I'm so proud my humanity has been restored, and people protesting all over the world every Saturday, 400,000, 300,000 everywhere. No matter what their government says, whether they say you can't do this, you're Hamas supporters, you know, you're terrorist protests, like scoff. No, we're not. And yeah, I guess I rambled a lot, but that's how I feel. Them's my feelings, yo.
Appreciate your.
I got a creamy feeling and I shared it. I don't know why I'm so tonight. Smoke some country weed, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. And if anyone else wants a little more info on any of this and doesn't want to watch 3 hours straight, just go to Abby Martin's channel, like Empire Files, and watch anything she's ever done on Israel Gaza.
Gaza fighting for freedom.
I actually seen that because I haven't just sat down and watched it.
There's no paywall now because it's been a couple years.
Yeah,
it is available. I will send it to you. Let's see.
Cool. Yeah, I just need to. I don't want to listen to it. That's the thing. I want to sit down and watch it.
Yeah, she's never allowed back. She can never go back to Israel.
That's she should never go back, anyways. Even if she was allowed.
Palestine doesn't have an airport. They don't have ports.
Huh?
She cannot go unless she goes to Israel first, and that's never gonna. Never. She should be scared anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Abby Martin, I know you're not listening, but you you do better alive. So don't go back to Israel.
Yeah, I'm gonna share ornament right here in our chat because it's that important. I want you guys to go to it, subscribe to this. She has a video that came out not too long ago. It's about the golem, and it's about trauma and Israel and their trauma and how this trauma perpetuates over and over. It's so fucking good. It's not demeaning or damning or pointing fingers. It humanely describes trauma and how the golem is so important in Jewish mythology and how they've become the thing. It's so good. I watched the whole thing from beginning to end with no breaks. I didn't watch some of it, and then later it was so good, and I'm impressed by her. I'm super impressed by her. She is a beautiful, bright, shining human, and I just want to share it with you guys.
Abby Martin was one of the few people that we had talked about before we started the show. Like who do we want to have on someday? Who do we want to go to for information? She told me about Abby Martin. I'm like, all right, who's that? Checked out. Oh, like yeah, she's wow, she's amazing.
She's doing this now, so I'd like to say she does follow us. Lightened the brunette out and has started growing her silver. She didn't want to do the whole thing I did because, like I don't care, but she does TV appearances and so just to look presentable. And yeah, it looks
You look
hot.
presentable.
Hot. She's hot no matter what. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
And I fucking love you guys.
Yeah, thank you all so much for like being here, listening to us babble and rant and complain. Are you gonna bring Kim Iverson back to praise RFK Jr.? Man, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yes.
I bet we'd have like one hell of a discussion.
Yeah, Noam Chomsky would be my number one.
Yeah.
And yeah. Yeah. Professor Richard Wolff. I mean,
Oh,
my
yeah.
dream if they were alive or dead would be Professor Howard Zinn before any of them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 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 My favorite book that's educational is, A People's History of the United States, and it is written by Professor Howard Zinn, and it is the best historical book on North America, hands down. Hands down.
All right.
Started using Panthers. RB.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're silly. Yes, I do. I love each one of you. I was on Romper Room as a kid. I don't know if you guys know anything about that children's show. They would hold a mirror up and they'd say kids' names and wave at them. So if you were at home and had that name, you'd think it was you. And yeah, I was one of the kids on that show.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I love you guys. And I think you should
do I.
probably stay humanist regardless.
Cheers.
Cheers.